expending massive amounts of energy, perhaps running away from a saber-toothed cat, or towards a freshly killed gazelle. Sweating. And heavy fur is a terrible insulator when you're trying to shed heat. Plus, less fur means fewer places for nasty parasites to hide and breed. So our biology is a record of sacrifices, of trading ancestral utility for a more flexible, adaptable future. It's a biological compromise, a step towards becoming the highly adaptable generalists we are today. If shedding excess fur was one evolutionary pressure, then environmental flux was the undisputed heavyweight champion. For the vast majority of our evolutionary journey, our ancestors didn't inhabit a cozy, predictable savanna, a snug little niche where they could just chill. Oh, no. They were thrown into a cosmic blender of constant, large-scale geological and climatic upheaval. We're talking about massive cooling and drying cycles, periods of extreme seasonal shifts, and unpredictable regional changes. The old school view of evolution, the one you might have learned in school, or more likely mislearned from outdated textbooks, focused on survival of the fittest within a specific stable environment. Think of it like adapting to the ultimate desert dweller or the perfect rainforest inhabitant. That's a useful model for many species, but for humans, it falls massively short. Enter Dr. Rick Potts and his brilliant variability selection hypothesis, otherwise known as VSH. This idea flips the script. It proposes that human traits didn't evolve to master just one particular environment, but rather to survive all of them. The critical selective pressure wasn't the environment itself, but its constant instability and unpredictability. Think about the evidence. Paleoclimatologists, using scientific methods like analyzing oxygen isotopes in ancient marine fossils. Fancy science talk for reading the Earth's ancient temperature logs. Have confirmed this history, that a planet characterized by relentless ecological uncertainty. So what happens when you're an organism facing constant upheaval, unpredictable food sources, shifting habitats, new dangers popping up like whack-a-moles? You have a few choices. 1, migrate. Pack your bags and move to where the weather is better. 2, specialize. Genetically tweak yourself to become incredibly good at surviving this specific new niche, even if it means being totally screwed if conditions change again. Or 3, increase generalized adaptability. Become a jack of all trades, able to figure things out, improvise, and thrive in a wide range of conditions. The VSH posits that hominins are ancient ancestors. So the VSH posits that hominins, our ancient ancestors, took the third most resource-intensive, but ultimately most successful route. We evolved as highly flexible generalists, not as hyper-specialized machines locked into a single way of life. The fossil record It's a treasure trove supporting this model, showing how key adaptations arose from the need for flexibility, not just brute efficiency. Take our early ancestors, like Australopithecus. They weren't just walking on two legs for the fun of it. Their anatomy was a masterclass in flexibility. They had structures that allowed for upright walking, crucial for covering long distances and freeing up those hands. But they also retained features for climbing trees, useful for escaping predators or finding food in patchy wooded areas. This anatomical duality ensured survival across mosaic landscapes, those shifting, mixed environments, rather than requiring perfect adaptation to, say, only open grasslands. Then came the game changer, technology. The invention and relentless refinement of tools amplified our resilience like nothing before. Those earliest crudely chipped stone tools, dating back a staggering 3.3 million years, were revolutionary. They gave hominins unprecedented dietary versatility. Suddenly, they could process tougher foods, crack open bones for nutritious marrow, and importantly, avoid complete dependence on the often volatile and unpredictable availability of plant resources. This technological liberation was a critical stepping stone, enabling the Homo to eventually pack its bags, leave Africa, and successfully disperse into radically diverse geographic settings across the globe. Imagine trying to survive the Arctic cold with only your bare hands and a few berries. And Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens as modern-day humans, we are the absolute pinnacle of this evolutionary drive for adaptability. Our success story isn't just about having bigger brains. It's rooted in the enhancement of complex social behavior, the invention of specialized, context-specific technology, from spears to smartphones, and the development of extensive symbolic culture, including language, art, and storytelling. These traits didn't just make us smarter. They made us universally resilient. They allowed our species to thrive in scorching deserts, frozen tundras, dense rainforests, and everything in between. Environments where other hominin species, perhaps less adaptable, eventually faltered and disappeared. So now let's pivot. Because while the scientific narrative of human evolution is a tale of adaptation, resilience, and remarkable biological ingenuity, there's another story that's been told for millennia: the Genesis creation account. It's a beautiful piece of mythology, a foundational text for billions. But as a scientific explanation for our origins, it's, shall we say, a tad problematic. So let's break it down day by day according to the Bible. Day 1, light is created. God separates light from darkness, calling them day and night. Day 2, the expanse, or firmament, is created to separate waters above from waters below. Also, this is often interpreted as the sky, the waters from the sky. Day 3, dry land appears and the seas gather, Plants, trees, and vegetation are created. Get this. Day 4. The sun, moon, and stars appear in the sky. Keep in mind, the plants, in the Bible, the plants were created before the sun. So they were growing before the sun was able to help them grow. So day 4, the sun, moon, and stars appear in the sky. Day 5, sea creatures and birds are created. Day 6, land animals, and finally, humans, male and female, are created in God's image. Day 7, God rests. Now, a few things strike any scientifically minded individual here. Firstly, the timeline is compressed. 7 days? When we're talking about billions of years of cosmic and planetary evolution, it's like trying to fit the entire history of the internet into a single tweet. But the real fun begins when you look at the order of operations. Plants on day 3, but sun on day 4. How did those plants photosynthesize and grow without a sun? Did they run on divine belief alone? This is like building a solar-powered car and then inventing the solar panels after you've already installed the engine. It just doesn't compute. Birds and fish on day 5, but the sun and atmosphere, necessary for bird flight and weather, on day 4. Okay. So the birds and fish are zipping around, but on what kind of a planet? Was the atmosphere weirdly opaque until day 4? Did fish evolve in a sunless ocean before coming to full form as fish on day 5? Everything before humans? This seems to put humanity on a pedestal, the grand finale of a cosmic production. While inspiring, it contradicts the scientific understanding that we are a relatively recent arrival on an ancient stage, evolving after countless other life forms. It's almost as if the story was written by someone who didn't have access to geology, paleontology, biology, or cosmology. Oh, wait. They didn't. This was a creation narrative born of a very different time, a time of myth and wonder, not empirical observation and scientific rigor. And let's be clear, the scientific evidence for evolution is not a theory in the everyday sense of a hunch or a guess. It's a robust, extensively tested framework supported by mountains of evidence from diverse fields. We have fossil records showing transitional forms like Archaeopteryx, a creature with both bird and reptilian features, or the fossil evidence of whale evolution from land mammals. We have genetic evidence showing the shared DNA between all life on Earth, with more closely related species sharing more genetic similarities, just as evolutionary theory predicts. We can observe evolution happening in real time, in bacteria developing antibiotic resistance, or insects adapting to pesticides. We have dating methods, radiometric dating of rocks, for example, that consistently show the Earth to be billions of years old. We have more concrete evidence supporting the evolutionary process that led to Homo sapiens, modern-day humans, than we have for the idea that God scooped up some dirt, breathed on it, and then built the entire universe in less time than it takes to binge watch a TV series. And let's not even get started on the talking snake, the global flood that somehow didn't disrupt geological strata or the ark's carrying capacity for every species. It's a fantastic story, but not a factual account of origins. The Genesis account is a powerful myth, offering explanations for existence, morality, and our place in the universe for those who choose to believe it. It speaks to profound human questions, but it is not and was never intended to be a scientific textbook. To insist on a literal interpretation in the face of overwhelming scientific evidence is, frankly, to embrace ignorance and reject the incredible power of human reason and observation. It's like insisting your smartphone runs on magic because you don't understand the code. It's a rejection of the very adaptability that made us human. So, here we are. The outcome of millions of years of adapting to an unpredictable planet. Our exceptional ability to adjust to a kaleidoscope of changing habitats is our evolutionary inheritance. It's the core reason Homo sapiens stands alone today, the sole survivor of a diverse hominin family. We are the ultimate adaptable generalists. But this defining trait, this incredible resilience, is now facing its most crucial test. The adaptability forged by millions of years of natural environmental fluctuations must now contend with rapid, large-scale, and critically human-induced environmental change. Accelerated climate shifts, massive biodiversity loss, plastic-choked oceans, the ever-present threat of nuclear annihilation. The instability we now face is novel in its speed and its origin. The variability selection hypothesis reminds us that humans are survivors of instability. We evolved to roll with the punches, to improvise, to innovate when faced with ecological chaos. Our brains, our social structures, our technology, they are all products of this adaptive struggle. The profound reflection for our species, the ultimate challenge, is this: can the resilience and ingenuity we evolved in response to ancient climate change, to the wild fluctuations of a natural planet, be enough to safeguard us from the consequences of the instability we are now creating? Can our adaptability, honed over millennia, be redirected to solve problems of our own making? This isn't just a question for scientists or policymakers. It's a question for every single one of us. It's a call to embrace the scientific understanding of our origins, not as a diminishment of our wonder, but as an amplification of our potential. To recognize that our ability to overcome challenges, to adapt, to learn, and to change is not a divine gift bestowed upon us in a single moment, but a hard-won evolutionary heritage. We are a species forged in the crucible of change. We have the capacity for incredible innovation, for collective action, for deep empathy. The Genesis story offers comfort and meaning through faith and tradition. The scientific story of evolution offers us knowledge, understanding, and most importantly, the tools to navigate our future. It tells us that our current challenges, immense as they are not insurmountable. They are, in fact, the very kind of dynamic, unstable environments that our species was evolutionarily primed to face. The question isn't whether we can adapt. We are genetically programmed to. The question is, what will we choose to adapt to? And will we finally embrace the power of reason and evidence to guide our adaptation rather than clinging to ancient narratives that fail to acknowledge our true origins and the powerful forces, both natural and self-made, that shape our destiny? So there you have it. From our patchy hair to our complex societies, our story is one of adaptation, forged by a planet that refused to stand still. We became the ultimate generalists, the survivors, the innovators, and that same inherent adaptability is what we need now more than ever. Instead of looking back to a mythic creation, let's look forward to the immense potential of human ingenuity, grounded in scientific understanding. Let's celebrate the fact that we are not static creations, but dynamic beings capable of learning, evolving, and shaping our future. And now, I want to turn the question over to you, my audience. Given our evolutionary history as adaptable generalists, what do you believe is the single biggest obstacle preventing humanity from effectively addressing the environmental challenges we face today? And conversely, what's our greatest evolutionary strength that we can leverage to overcome them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with anyone who might need a healthy dose of scientific reality with a side of existential motivation. Thank you for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this podcast and would like to support it, please consider making a $3 monthly donation by joining my Patreon and becoming a member. The link is in the description below. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and keep adapting.